Hello and welcome back to the Real Arsenal Deal podcast. This is Rav, your host, recording this late Friday morning here again in Bali, Indonesia. How is everyone today? And what an eventful day. What an eventful 24 hours or so it's been in the Arsenal world. So for those of you who have been listening in the last few months, you realize, yes, I was on holiday in Bali just a month or so ago. I'm actually now back. This is a much shorter trip now. One of my best friends is turning 50, so I'm here now with a few of my closest friends just to enjoy a few days here beachside in Bali, and I will give my account of how I heard of and how I've processed the news, or you have to include Kai Havertz in this as well, of course. I don't want to forget the news that Arsenal are closing in on, at the time of recording, it's not finalised, however, it seems just a formality at this point, of Eberechi Eze, off the back of some very significant injury news to Kai Havertz. So I will give you a description of how it's all gone down for myself as well over the last day or so. And before I do, please apologise in advance for any background or noise or anything. I'm recording this in our resort hotel room. I just had to get a recording out because I was largely offline, out of the loop as this all took place. So it was Thursday night, Melbourne, Australian time, where just as I was heading to bed, I thought I'd just take my phone, and I saw a WhatsApp message regarding Kai Havertz. And I thought to myself, oh dear, like, well, what does that mean? What are we referring to? Is it a transfer rumor out of nowhere? Is he? Because we know for a while, and it's been discussed at length, that Arsenal now are in a sales and outgoing phase of the transfer window. We need to secure some sales. We have too big of a squad. We all know who we're referring to. There's a number of players who are awaiting some deals, loans, or purchases to be finalised. So when I saw the reference to Kai Havertz, I thought, no way. There's no way we're selling Kai Havertz, right? Because I know he cops a lot of flack still from some quarters of the Arsenal fan base, and yes, he's not that out-and-out, gilt-edged, world-class striker that has been missing from Arsenal. I think it's not too outlandish to say those comments. However, at the same time, if you just look at the evidence, if you look at Arsenal's points per game, if you look at Arsenal's goals for per game as well, there's a significant correlation between Kai Havertz and Arsenal's performance. I don't think that can be denied. It's undeniable, really. He's an integral player. He's a Mikel Arteta player, right? He's part of the current fabric at Arsenal, and he's just a super important member of the team to have in our squad, fit and available. And yes, so my first reaction was, oh no, is he being sold? So a quick look at David Ornstein's Twitter. He's very considered in his word choices. He's very measured. So when he made references to that Arsenal are actively looking at other opportunities in the market, or other targets in the market, whilst Havertz is being assessed, to me, immediately my mind went to an ACL injury. Such as the luck as well with Arsenal in the last few months, that it seems that our injuries are not just not necessarily a little niggle here and there, or a knock that keeps a player out for 7 to 10 days. They seem to be at the other end of the scale, requiring significant recovery, surgery, and repair work. So that was where I immediately went to, and I got to be honest, when I went to bed Thursday evening after reading that, I was quite flattened. I was thinking to myself, oh geez, here we go again. It's all about to unfold. Apologies, I shouldn't have said Thursday night. It was Wednesday night, Melbourne time. I'm making references to Thursday morning, is when I had to be up bright and early around 4 a.m. to head off to the airport. So for those of you who are in England and North America, I'm sure things were happening in real time for you as the day started with the news about Havertz, and then as the day developed and a few hours had passed by, we then saw the emergence of from David Ornstein again, the emergence of some very significant information regarding Eze, who up until now was the way he's been described as the way Arsenal's interest has been described to him is as a player that we admire, of course, that a player that Arteta likes, And we've known for a while the fee structure involved at Crystal Palace. We've known about the release clause coming and going, and the type of value that they place on him for any transaction to be done. We'd also heard about some potential players that Palace had lined up, because it seemed all but inevitable that Eze was on his way out, and it looked like Tottenham were just having a free run at him for several days. So in my head, I'd pretty much closed the book on Eze, because Arsenal have not been able to secure the sales of some key players. We have not been able to finalise some transactions, even for some players who were not really in and around the first team. Fabio Vieira, Sambi Lokonga, Karl Hein, etc. So these things add up, and they get to a point where it creates a bit of a bottleneck before committing further acquisitions, further funds to acquire further players, without securing some sales out the door. So in my head, Eze was all but done, and it would have been a bit of a shame to see him play for Spurs, because I quite like him. He's a very likeable footballer, a bit like Brian Mbeumo, who I know he enjoyed an excellent game against Arsenal on the weekend, playing for United, and I actually really like him. I've seen him in a United shirt and doing well. It was quite the internal conflict, because I like him as a player, but then seeing him in those colours, I'm thinking, ugh, yuck. So it is a bit of an internal conflict, and I didn't want the same thing with Eze at Spurs. So certainly not, definitely not. So it seems that Spurs were not able to finalise that transaction, and the more and more that's emerging, the more that's leaking around that, it just seemed like he had, from the outset, his eyes set on Arsenal and Arsenal only, which is awesome, right? Because it's a fantastic signing, right? But the circumstances of which it's happening, it does make it quite humorous. Now, I'm not of course, I don't want to denigrate Kai Havertz here, because there's a very significant injury there that we still don't know the full extent of, that we don't know the full assessment or the possible fallout from it. So I don't want to overly cheer and start doing flips or anything, right? Because it could come off the back of a real blow to Arsenal. So when I say the circumstances are humorous, I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to the fact that he was right in Tottenham's grip, and he slipped through their fingertips. And I find that part funny. I really do. It's emerged that Tim Lewis was pivotal in this. It seems that he has a good relationship with Palace chairman Steve Parish, and once Arsenal lined up a few things and got the sign off from board and from ownership level, right, that he could make the call. And from there, this is the part that I really want to hone in on. Right, like, it's happened very, very quickly. It is not that often that I have seen Arsenal conduct a business so swiftly, so decisively, like a signing of this significance, of this deal size, this player profile. The only thing that I can really think of now at the top of my head for this to happen in such a short space of time, is Mesut Ozil, way back in 2013, when that went right down to deadline day, where it emerged that Madrid were open to him leaving. It was an international break at the time. We'd just beaten Spurs 1-0, funnily enough, in a North London derby the day before. Wenger had that very mischievous grin on his face. It was just fantastic. I know that's been memed up so many times, right? But he had that little Mr. Burns smirk about him, like that excellent smirk. It was fantastic. And then over the course of that day, things happened very, very quickly, and it's coming from very reputable sources. And all of a sudden, Ozil has had his medical on international duty with the German camp, and he'd signed for Arsenal later that day. It's just amazing. Every now and then, like the planets align, so to speak. Like the circumstances just permit such a swift piece of business to be done. And credit to all involved, like to just act in such a manner, to be so unified and said, no, we need to act. We're not going to do this. We're not going to leave ourselves short like we did in January or last year. We're not going to repeat those mistakes again. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to the club. We owe it to Arteta to power up and make the call, and just to go ahead and do it. So in that respect, like, huge credit to all parties, all involved. And what makes it a bit funnier as well is that it's emerged I can't remember where I read this. My apologies for not citing the source, but it had emerged that that as soon as Eze had heard that Arsenal had made their intentions clear and that they're coming for him, he and or his agent, his representatives, just basically put a halt. They stalled any further discussions with Tottenham, and he has his eyes set on Arsenal and Arsenal only. So I find that quite funny. That is awesome. It really is awesome. You just have to take a moment and just enjoy these little things, right? Because football, especially Arsenal, operating such a pressure cooker right now. I mean, it's unrelenting. It seems at the moment every single thing is magnified from an Arsenal point of view. So to have this stuff in our favour, aside from the very serious blow of Kai Havertz's injury, to have this fall in our favour, just embrace it. Just enjoy it for a moment. It's a very unique and just a very welcome feeling. And now the question becomes, where exactly is he going to play? And I know the consensus has been for quite some time now that Arsenal's pursuit of Eze doesn't quite correlate with what we actually need, because I think we're all aware that left wing upgrade is something that just would have been like the icing on the cake, the cherry on top of our transfer business. We've kind of addressed it. Well, I guess we've powered up in terms of our options there with the signing of Noni Madueke. I also remember Ethan Nwaneri recently in his interview upon signing his contract extension, he'd made reference to the fact that he can play anywhere across the front five. And I found, I found that comment quite interesting because we've known for a while that he and his representatives needed some further assurances about his pathway with Arsenal and Arteta. So I wonder if that's part of their discussions, that they earmarked him for some minutes out there on the left flank. I'd be very curious to see that, how that correlates with his appearances this season. But we also know Martinelli. I mean, the Martinelli discussion has been done. It's been done so many times, right? We don't need to go over it all again. However, clearly he does have some deficiencies that we are wanting to level up on. Trossard just recently signed his announcement. Signed his contract. It wasn't a contract extension; it was a pay increase, which is curious. And even though that only happened 2 or 3 days ago, it just feels like so much has happened since, right? So much. It's been a very eventful few days since. So that's been largely lost now. So Trossard is obviously, of course, still a key part of Arteta's vision and our focus for this season. So trying to balance all of these attacking players and trying to keep them all happy and give them all appropriate minutes. I mean, this is a blessing to have after what we suffered last season. Yes, we were struggling for numbers to even get players onto the pitch. Right, we suffered too many cluster injuries. So to have the options now, it's very, very refreshing. Also, at the same time, it must be balanced accordingly because there's a bit of a logjam in certain areas. And I understand from a one area point of view or a Madueke point of view, the Eze signing may not be as joyous as it is to the rest of us in the fan base. So that's just interesting to watch how we balance all of this now. I believe, just going back to Kai Havertz now for a moment, it does seem though that the club wants to protect Gyökeres. We want to protect that centre forward position. We can't allow ourselves to be in a position, with all due respect to Mikel Merino, but we can't put ourselves in that position again where Mikel Merino is playing Champions League quarterfinals, semi-finals as our starting striker. And as well as he did, taking nothing away from him, there are situations that occurred late last season where when you zoom out, you should just say, this is not acceptable. This should not be happening. We should not be bringing on Kieran Tierney, bless him. Again, no disrespect. I'm not singling out any particular player here. I'm more so discussing what it represents as in terms of club squad building, decision making, the choices we make. We should not be bringing on Kieran Tierney as a left wing. We should not have a bench full of left backs and or youth academy players. Again, all due respect to them. However, they're not really in the framework to get first team minutes. They're there to fill out the numbers on our substitute bench. So collectively, I think Arsenal have learned some very hard lessons and have looked internally at themselves and realised how culpable we were with some of these choices. Yes, there were things most certainly outside of our control. However, the things that were in our control, we fluffed. We let ourselves down, and we did not act appropriately. We did not act responsibly, and at times you could even call it negligent. It was negligent business. So from that respect, I get a strong sense that Arsenal just said enough's enough, and that formed part of the reason why we acquired Andrea Berta, who has been absolutely integral in so many key pieces of business and these transactions, from acquiring to he overseeing some key contract renewals as well. Stepping in there is a difficult task because some of these conversations were already well underway with the club, and he's had to come in now and sort of just oversee that. And now all attention is on him again, right? We have the outgoings, the sales. He's still got a week or so to secure. However, that's obviously, that remains to be seen. I'm very confident he'll get some good outcomes there. But collectively, Arsenal as a leadership, as an executive, and as an ownership group, I think we've done the right thing here. We've acted, because we cannot leave ourselves short again. To achieve what we all hope that we're trying to achieve this season, we cannot allow ourselves to be in that position again. So just getting back to Eze now and where he fits in. Yes, he's a player who has enjoyed a lot of success in the central areas, central midfield, right? He can deputise for Odegaard. We also know, I don't want to go back on the whole point about one area, but we also know that Ethan is considered next in line for minutes in that position. So that's interesting to see. So what I think is happening here is that now with the seriousness of Havertz's injury and whatever length of time that he's going to be out for, which by the way, I think anything less than 10, 11, 12 weeks, I think that's going to be, that I don't want to use the word a win. I mean, I can't dress that up. I can't dress that kind of absence up as anything but a blow or a loss. However, if we can avoid an ACL injury, if we can avoid a knee reconstruction and a season write-off, I think we can manage the next few months without Kai. I mean, as difficult as that's going to be, I just do think that we've got the numbers there to accommodate that absence. So in trying to soften the blow for that, I wonder if Arteta and Berta and the club have now looked at the current squad makeup, and in their heads, they have now compartmentalised Trossard out of the left wing picture. That he is now going to deputise as a false nine, a centre forward, to support Gyökeres. We will then have Martinelli and Eze and Madueke as left wing options. And even when Trossard plays left wing, for example, right, he's a different style of left winger to Madueke and to Martinelli. He's not as wide as them. He doesn't offer as much width as we otherwise do on the overlap or hugging the byline. So Eze, he might thrive in that similar sort of position to Trossard on the left, operating inside that left-hand channel. He's got excellent relationships with Declan Rice already from the England setup, right? He also knows Miles Lewis-Skelly, of course, so there's some good relationships already formed there to operate with players who also play on that side of the pitch, in that corridor. Right, Calafiori as well could be a hell of a combination with Eze in that left pocket of space. So I do think that's where he's going to feature most of all. We all know that he can play inside as well. If we ever wanted to go in, and play 2/8, we drop Rice further back deeper, for example, and we have Eze and Odegaard. I mean, that's an option that all of a sudden we've got now on the table. We didn't have this too long ago. These are really good problems to have, because not too long ago, right, we came back from that Dubai break with a very broken squad, a very heavy schedule ahead off the back of a grueling January, and we had no choice but to start the next league fixture against Leicester with Ethan on the right, Trossard in the middle, and Sterling on the left. Right, so all of a sudden, just fast forward a few months, and Arsenal decided now that we must power up, that we must level up, and have these selection decisions to make, because there's certainly the minutes there to spread around. Remains to be seen how much Arteta leans into that, of course, because we know the likes of Odegaard, how integral he is to Arsenal's press as the captain, and how crucial he is in terms of managing game states. Same with Saka, right? That these players who are going to tend to play as much as or close to the 90 minutes as possible. So all of a sudden, it just remains to be seen how much we utilize these players. But Eze is the type of signing that I think as a market opportunity, when it's there, when you have the ability to acquire someone like this who wants to come, who's a willing participant for your football club. He has a long storied history with Arsenal already. There's definitely some unfinished business. He is a Halen boy. He's an academy boy, coming home, so to speak. And this is a willing player. He wants to come. This is the type of deal that when it's in your hand, you close your hand. You just do it. You go ahead and do it. And you make it happen, and it lifts the entire club. There's going to be a momentum and energy boost into the entire club. Again, not taking anything away from Kai Havertz, and I think that's a very heavy blow, and I'm sure the club will support him as best as possible, because he's had a shocking run since February to now, right? These are professional footballers. It's their livelihoods, their careers on the line, right? These are massive blows to their emotional well-being, their mental health, and I really want the best for Kai Havertz. I really like him. I think he's an absolute utmost professional, right? He does everything that Arteta wants him to. He bleeds for the badge. So I really wish him a speedy recovery and hope to see him back doing Kai Havertz things very, 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 very shortly. So taking nothing away from that blow to the club, having someone like Eze come in, it's really going to lift the entire mood. And it's going to be an excellent atmosphere, actually, against Leeds tomorrow night. To Saturday night. Now it will be the first home match at the Emirates Stadium, so that's going to be really, really great to see. It's going to be a tremendous vibe at the Emirates. If you're listening to this, please do let me know how it was. I would love to hear your feedback about the atmosphere and the energy within the crowd. I'd really appreciate you letting me know, please. So on that note, I am going to bring this one to a close. A short and sweet podcast today. I just had to get something out, had to record my thoughts on this very significant day for Arsenal. So thank you so much for listening and tuning in. I'll be back on post Leeds match, hopefully talking about a resounding Arsenal victory, and maybe even a sneaky debut for Eberechi Eze. Maybe he's even in the squad or he's unveiled there, because he didn't feature for Palace overnight. I should have mentioned that before, sorry. It looks like he withdrew due to illness, right? So I do believe there's more to it than just illness, right? I think Palace want to protect the player. Arsenal have probably made a request to City to keep him out of harm's way, given such a sizable transfer is imminent and about to be closed. I think that's what happened more so than any illness. So hopefully Arsenal get the job done against Leeds and get 3 points in a comprehensive display. That'll be fantastic to see. Hopefully Gyökeres gets on the board, and we just start to ride this wave of momentum now, generating into the very busy schedule we have, the very hectic opening matches of the Premier League season. So thank you so much for listening. If you could please kindly like and subscribe on YouTube, or a review on your podcast platform will be most welcome, please. It helps boost engagement. And let me know any feedback you have, any questions. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much again. Wherever you are in the world, stay safe, look after yourselves, look after your loved ones, check in with your close friends, how they're doing, and also check in with yourself. If you need anything, please do speak up and reach out. Until then, I'll talk to you soon, and come on Arsenal.